The climate impact of Genghis Khan. In 2011, scientists discovered that the Mongol conquests of the 13th century killed so many people that farmland across Asia reverted to forest. Those regrowing forests pulled roughly 700 million tons of carbon out of the atmosphere, equivalent to the world's total annual gasoline demand today. One man's wars literally cooled the planet. That man was afraid of dogs. The secret history of the Mongols records that the boy who would become Genghis Khan had a genuine phobia of dogs as a child. His father told future in-laws, "My son is afraid of dogs. Do not let him be frightened by them." This was not irrational. Mongolian steppe dogs were massive, bred to fight wolves and kill people. Yet this boy would grow up responsible for the deaths of roughly 40 million people, about 10% of the entire world population at the time. Born clutching a blood clot, Temüjin, his birth name, entered the world clutching a blood clot the size of a knucklebone in his right fist, an omen of a great warrior. His mother Hoelin had been kidnapped by his father Yasugii from her first husband, a Merkit tribesman. That single kidnapping set off a chain of revenge that would reshape Temüjin's life and the succession of the largest land empire in history. Early hardships. When Temüjin was 8 or 9, his father was poisoned at a Tatar feast. The clan abandoned the widow and her children on the open steppe, a death sentence. They survived on roots, fish, and wild onions. Around age 13, Temüjin and his brother killed their half-brother Begtur over a hunting dispute. Their mother screamed at them, comparing them to wild beasts. This episode was not edited out of the secret history. It showed his ruthless willingness to remove threats even within his family. Later, the Temüjin clan captured him, fitted him with a heavy wooden pillory, and paraded him from camp to camp. He escaped during a feast, striking a guard with the pillory and hiding in a river. A family risked their lives to hide him. When he rose to power, he rewarded them lavishly. Loyalty repaid became a core principle. The kidnapping that reshaped succession. Temüjin married Borte, but the Merkits raided their camp and kidnapped her. Explicit revenge for the earlier kidnapping of his mother. He rescued her with help from his blood brother Jamuka and patron Togrul. Borte gave birth to Joki soon after. Paternity was never resolved. The dispute between Joki and his brother Chagatai meant neither could inherit. Temüjin chose his third son, Ogdi, as successor, reshaping the empire's leadership. One kidnapping 2 generations back determined who would control an empire stretching from Korea to Hungary. Blood brothers to enemies. Temüjin and Jamuka became blood brothers at age 11, exchanging knucklebones and arrows. Their alliance collapsed over a fundamental disagreement. Jamuka believed in aristocratic rule, Temüjin in merit and loyalty. Years of war followed. After Jamuka was betrayed and captured, he refused mercy, asking for an honorable death without spilling blood. His back was broken. Temüjin buried him with the golden belt from their childhood bond. 19 starving men at a muddy lake. In 1203, Temüjin suffered a crushing defeat and fled with only 19 companions to Lake Baljuna. Starving, they killed a wild horse, ate its flesh, and drank muddy water filtered through its body. Temüjin swore an oath. If he succeeded, he would share both the sweet and the bitter with these men. If he broke his word, let him become like that muddy water. Those 19 men came from 9 different tribes and multiple religions: Christians, Muslims, Buddhists. 3 years later, he had defeated all rivals and was proclaimed Genghis Khan. The Baljunatu received the highest titles in the new empire. How he built history's deadliest army. Genghis Khan organized his army by a decimal system, units of 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, deliberately mixing tribes to destroy old loyalties. Desertion by one man meant execution for the entire squad of 10. His imperial guard, the Kashig, acted as elite troops, a hostage system for tribal leaders' sons, and a training school for future administrators. The annual winter hunt, the Nurj, was a full-scale military exercise. A ring up to 80 miles across would compress for weeks, driving every animal toward the center. Holding that formation was exactly how they encircled armies. Mongol soldiers carried air-dried meat, spare bowstrings, a lasso, and a waterproof saddlebag that doubled as a flotation device. Each man had 3 to 5 spare horses, rotating them so none tired. Armies moved at cavalry speed without supply wagons. Battlefield communication used whistling arrows, flags, smoke, and war drums on camels. Their postal relay system, the YAM, with stations every 25 to 30 miles, could move messages over 200 miles a day, faster than any enemy could send a warning. Military tactics. Their signature tactic was the feigned retreat. They would pretend to flee for days, luring enemies into an ambush. At the Kalka River in 1223, Subutai kept up the ruse for 9 days before annihilating a combined Russian and Kipchak army. When encircling a city, they left one side open, not out of mercy, but because men who see an escape route fight less desperately before being cut down in the open. They used psychological warfare, spreading terror through refugees, inflating numbers with extra campfires, forcing captured civilians to march as human shields. To break walls, they captured engineers from China, Persia, and Central Asia, learning to build catapults, launch naphtha, dig tunnels, and divert rivers. This was a military machine that absorbed every civilization's technology and turned it on the next. The fall of cities. Beijing fell in 1215 after a long siege and starvation. It burned for a month. The Khwarezmian Empire was destroyed after its governor executed a Mongol trade caravan of 450 merchants. Bukhara, Samarkand, and Merv were erased. Merv may have lost over 100,000 people. Nishapur was obliterated after a Mongol general fell there. The dead were separated and the city silenced. Bamiyan was renamed Cursed City after a stray arrow killed Genghis Khan's favorite grandson. Every living thing was killed, and no one was ever allowed to live there again. The pursuit and the enemy he admired. Generals Jeeb and Subutai chased the fleeing Shah Muhammad across Central Asia, through the Caucasus and into Russia. The Shah died cold and alone on a Caspian island. The expedition accidentally became a 3-year reconnaissance of half the known world. At the Indus River, the Shah's son Jalal ad-Din rode his horse off a cliff into the river and swam across under a hail of arrows. Genghis Khan, watching, told his sons, "A father should have such a son," and restrained his archers. Raw courage mattered to him even in an enemy, a conqueror and a monk. In 1222, Genghis Khan summoned a 73-year-old Taoist monk who traveled 3,500 miles to the Hindu Kush. He asked if there was a potion of immortality. The monk answered no, but told him to respect and love his people to prolong his life. Genghis Khan made the monk administrator of all religions in the empire. The man who built pyramids of skulls was, for a moment, genuinely interested in kindness. Erasing a civilization, the Western Xia Kingdom refused to send troops. On his deathbed in 1227, Genghis Khan ordered their complete extermination. Their capital was destroyed, population massacred, records and identity erased so thoroughly that most people today have never heard of them. Historians argue this may be one of history's earliest ethnicides. Myth versus reality. Genghis Khan was illiterate, yet he ordered the creation of the Mongolian writing system, still used in Inner Mongolia. The famous greatest pleasure quote is likely a later invention. He did not have red hair and green eyes, those are translation errors. The claim that 16 million men carry his Y chromosome has been disproven. The genetic lineage is far older. And the desertification of Central Asia began before the Mongols. The invasions made the damage permanent by depopulating the region, so no one could repair irrigation systems when the climate improved. Death and legacy. He died in 1227, possibly from a horse fall or bubonic plague. His burial site remains unknown. Iran's population did not recover to pre-Mongol levels until the mid-20th century, 700 years later. In Mongolia today, Genghis Khan is a national hero whose face is on every banknote. In Iran and the Arab world, he is remembered as one of history's greatest destroyers. Both descriptions are accurate. Neither is complete.